Hello and welcome. And now joining me on TVP World is Janez Janša, the Prime Minister of Slovenia. Sir, thank you very much for joining us today on TVP World.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Now, at an event as important as it is today, what can you say about the accomplishments of today's meeting?
I think that over 6 billion euros collected today is a huge achievement, and that Ukraine needs such help as soon as possible. So when your Prime Minister, Mateusz Morawiecki, concluded at the end that it's not only the sum but also the delivery as soon as possible, very important. This is it. So I think that it was a very successful event. I personally didn't expect it such a huge sum to be collected.
Right now, Slovenia was one of the first countries to stand united with Ukraine. Now, can you give us kind of a gauge on exactly how much Slovenia has done to aid Ukraine in these difficult times?
Well, I'm afraid I'm not able to collect everything because, especially during first month, thousands of Slovenian people gathered together, collected all kinds of help, medicine, food, everything they were able to collect. And we had the biggest trouble was how to organize the logistic. Before we settled everything, organized the Civil Protection Service, which took responsibility then for the logistic, organized the routes through Slovakia and Poland. So we still don't have all numbers, but all money we reserved for humanitarian aid for this year, we have spent on Ukraine. We also helped with technical assistance through the different Slovenian companies, helped by military aid, whatever we were able to collect in our stocks of our military, police also. And we try to help them morally, so support the EU perspective for Ukraine, visiting them in the middle of March together with the Prime Minister. I think that this visit was very important because when we came there, first we were convinced that Ukraine will never be defeated. We saw this spirit I personally experienced during Slovenian War for Independence 30 years ago. Such a spirit cannot be defeated, doesn't matter how big and strong aggressor is. And most important, we opened the path. So when we traveled back from that visit from Kiev, I said now we expect EU leaders to come. And then the President of the European Parliament, Madam Metsola, went there, President of the European Council, President of the European Commission, many of our colleagues from the European Council. So Ukraine is not abandoned anymore. When we came as a first delegation, they said, we are feeling very lonely. So this is what we help to change.
Right. Well, it's definitely important to visit those areas as you've done, and you've seen some of the atrocities firsthand. Now, they're saying that about 15% of the humanitarian needs are being met at this moment, but that just shows that we have so far to go. Do you think that there are going to be more such conferences in the future to continue to pour in aid for all the humanitarian
Surely
purposes?
there has to be more conferences, but also there has to be better organization, better coordination. During this morning I spoke with the representatives of the international financial organizations, some multinational companies. We need to establish one center for such an aid. Now G7 is doing something, European Commission is doing something, banks are doing something.
Right.
You know,
So-
some pledges are repeating themselves on different events, and the efficiency is not as high as it should be. So I think that aside of the official meetings and the conference podium, there are discussions going on in the corridors how to make coordination better, because this is extraordinary situation. The ordinary tools from the peaceful time are not working, so we have to act according to the demands, and especially when we are speaking about the financial help. The coordination from one center is needed, especially European Commission, United States, IMF, World Bank. They have to agree on one office which is coordinating financial help.
Right, that's a very good point. Now, there's also been talk at this conference and others of all the frozen assets, the frozen Russian assets, whether that be from the central bank or whether that be the assets of oligarchs. Do you support giving all of those frozen assets to the reconstruction?
I do. I fully support what Prime Minister Morawiecki said during his conclusions. This money has to help to rebuild Ukraine, because it's obvious who is aggressor, who is causing all this thing, and I think that we have to start or to increase when there is the start has already begun. Drawing the framework, legal framework for European Union, this to make possible. There are some constitutional obstacles regarding private property and so on. So we have to join forces and to make this move legal and as fast as possible.
Right now, obviously it's going to take much more money to rebuild Ukraine than the immediate humanitarian aid needs right now. So, well, we wish you the best of luck in that endeavor, and we're definitely in support of that. Now, just moving on to conclude here, is your sense of this war coming to an end more hopeful, or do you think that we still have quite a ways to go?
As I said during the conference, I think that the combination of two things is crucial here. The bravery, the courage of the Ukrainians, and the amount of our help, especially military aid. As Prime Minister Šmihal said, the military aid currently is everything is very needed. Humanitarian help, helping the refugees, financing, technical assistance, political and moral support. But there is one thing which is making the war shorter, and this is not only so-called defensive weapons, but modern weapons. Ukrainians need to establish the balance of power on the battlefield, because the Russian hardware is still dominating, and it depends on our side, on our help to how close we are to the end of this war. On rebuilding, one very important thing which was mentioned but not underlined as much as it needs to be, is that what Prime Minister Šmihal and President Zelensky said, that they're asking for direct help. So one country from Europe or from the West to help one specific region in Ukraine to be rebuilt on one city. I think that this is very good formula, because then there are no intermediary institutions and bureaucracy and problem of coordination on the other side. The people, for instance, in Slovenia, who are giving money for helping Ukraine, they see concrete results in one city, in one village, in one region. So I think that this approach we have to, how to say, to put on the systemic level. And with such approach, the rebuilding of Ukraine will not take another decade. We can do it within few years after the war is done.
Right, right. If only we can get there to that place. Well, Prime Minister, I thank you very, very much for joining us. We are at the high-level International Donors Conference here in Warsaw, and my guest today was Prime Minister of Slovenia, Janez Janša. Excuse me. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the program today.